Despite what many wrestling fans may believe or even desire to a certain degree, AEW will never die. Ever since its beginning back in 2019, several critics have claimed that AEW was nothing but a flash in the pan, that it was a billionaire's dream, that it was nothing more than just Tony Khan's playthings. However, some 6 years later now, AEW has not only grown itself to be the second biggest wrestling company on the planet, and it's not even close, but on top of that, they have grown into a viable, sustainable business. In the latter part of 2024, it was announced that Warner Brothers Discovery would re-up AEW to a multi-year contract worth in the hundreds of millions of dollars, meaning that not only would the company be profitable, but also the company would finally be sustainable long term. This was the moment that the entire genesis of the company had been building to. Bigger than the wrestling part of it, bigger than the personalities that we have come to see on TV, the future of AEW was finally secured. And while people like Eric Bischoff or Jim Cornette may not necessarily agree or find that to fit their narrative, it is the truth. The goal since day one for Tony Khan was to ensure the future of AEW, because the future of AEW does not only mean the future of everything that he has built, but it also ensures the future of professional wrestling and a brighter future. That does not mean that there aren't things about AEW that are worth criticizing. That does not mean that AEW as a company needs to be blindly followed and Tony Khan is the best booker of all time. But what it does mean is that AEW existing helps professional wrestling. AEW existing ensures that wrestlers are able to leverage their contracts in order to get paid more money. There's this disgusting trope that fans like to throw out there that wrestlers are getting overpaid because of AEW, with that idea just being absolute garbage on its face. You also have to factor in that wrestlers, ever since the industry began, have been getting underpaid. They have been underappreciated and undervalued for decades. And for companies like WWE or even WCW back in the day, the goal was to ensure that the company's profit margins were as big as they could possibly be. And part of that was to ensure wrestlers were kind of put at a certain level. Now, WCW did end up giving out a bunch of very large contracts in the mid-90s that eventually led to WWE being forced to pay their talent more money and give out more guaranteed money. But ever since WCW closed its doors, that wasn't the case, and that's when we saw these wrestling salaries stagnate, because in reality, WWE was the only company at that level that were able to offer talent contracts. So for WWE, of course, there's going to be pushback at the idea of AEW being able to do that. And we've seen that. We've seen WWE in recent years try to keep talent from getting to the free agent market, because they know if talent are able to go to free agency and test it out, that means that in all likelihood they are going to get a big money deal from AEW, and for them that is going to reset the market. Because if you're talent A and you test the free agent market and you're getting paid $5 million while WWE offers you $3 million, then talent B in WWE, when they're re-signing, is going to say, well, talent A is getting $5 million, which means I should be getting definitely more than that. And that cycle will continue. And that is good not only for talent, but it's good for wrestling. It means that these superstars are getting paid like superstars. It means these superstars are getting compensated in a way that they deserve. And it also increases the value, I think, of wrestling to a more casual audience, because if all this money is being thrown around, that means that this is something that more casual audience needs to pay attention to. On top of that, you also have the fact that the creative push that AEW has provided WWE did make the company better. While Vince McMahon was still stagnating over the last couple of years of his reign, when Triple H came in and when he was inspired by the push that AEW had given him, it led to some of the biggest and best storylines that WWE has ever put on. Think Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk, a story that was in small part actually built from CM Punk's return to the company after he was fired from AEW, but something that could not really have been seen in the Vince McMahon era of WWE of 2019 to 2022. You also have the Bloodline story, which is arguably the biggest and best story that WWE has ever put on, and none of that happens without the push of AEW. AEW certainly did bring the level of creative WWE up a notch, and it forced WWE to rethink their filming. It forced WWE to rethink their production. It forced WWE to rethink the way that they come across in the media. And that is why AEW has been so important to the entire landscape of professional wrestling. And that is why it is a good thing that the company is now stronger than it's ever been. A strong AEW means a strong professional wrestling industry. And with AEW getting this TV deal, it just means that there's even more room for growth. AEW is starting to put on shows internationally. They just had an insane crowd in Australia for their Grand Slam show in February. They reportedly did a virtual sellout of their show in Mexico in a couple of months. They are expanding globally. And for a company that is as young as they are to have done this is unprecedented in professional wrestling. And it's, again, a very good thing. But moreover, it shows you that this is not just a flash in the pan. AEW is here to stay. AEW is stronger than ever, and AEW is good for professional wrestling. While there's going to be a lot of people who may disagree with that, I do think a large part of that critique is either baked into an idea that only WWE should be allowed to dictate what good professional wrestling is, and it might not be your flavor, or it is just grifters who claim that WWE is the best and anything else is bad because that's what's going to get them clicks. And that's fine if that's your business. However, at the same time, reality is looking us all right in the face. And the fact of the matter is that AEW is here to stay.